Well, hello, grade threes. How are you doing today? How's it been staying at home all this time? How are your families? I hope the lessons are keeping you occupied and that you are learning as we go along. I'm so enjoying sharing this time with you, and I'm very fortunate to be able to do this. Well, I think we should just get on with our maths lesson now. So let's get started. Remember to email me on grade3@worksheetcloud.com with any questions you may have. Well, today we're going to be looking at fractions. Grade threes, I love teaching fractions. I tell you why, because when we learn at school, we cut up sausages and we cut up oranges and we fold pieces of paper, and we really get to understand what fractions are by working with our hands and playing with fractions. I also know that through years of teaching that sometimes fractions can be quite daunting or difficult for children to understand. So what I want to do with this lesson particularly is I want to take everybody right back to pictures, even though some of you might think, oh my goodness, we've done all this, Mrs. Harwin, do we have to? But I think it's important that we really understand the basics of fractions, because if you don't get the basics, guys, it's very difficult to build on what you know if you don't understand the starts or beginnings of fractions and what they are all about. So you'll have to bear with me if you think some of this is a bit easy, but rather it's a bit easy and we get to understand exactly what's going on, and then we will add in some more complicated stuff, and as we go along you will then catch it easily and quickly, which is exactly what learning is all about and teaching is all about. So I'm going to ask you a question in the next slide. When you hear the word fractions, what do you think of? I can remember one or two of my class saying, oh, I don't understand what this means. Please help me, Mrs. Harwin. So do you get excited about learning about fractions? Well, that's great if you do. I'm glad you get excited. Or maybe you don't. That's also okay. I'm going to do my best to make sure that you get this loud and clear. And remember, guys, you can go back and play this video again so that you can remind yourselves of some of the important parts about it. So, is this you when you learn about fractions? And you say, no, help, I don't want to learn about fractions, they confuse me. Or do you get on your two little feet and run out saying, get me out of here? Well, I just have a good message for you guys. Fractions, scary? They're not. And you know what? We use fractions every single day, many times a day. So what will you actually learn today then? Well, firstly, you're going to learn that fractions are very much part of your life and my life and everybody's life every single day. For instance, you will see fractions showing off when it comes to dealing with food, when we are measuring distance, or we are baking, or we are measuring liquids, or we are measuring how heavy or light something is. We often have to use fractions there as well. And what about when we go shopping? Well, I'm going to show you how fractions come into play there too. And when we're telling the time, you might think, what? Fractions and time? Oh yes. So today we will mainly be learning about fractions through looking at pictures, because grade threes, we learn often the best using our eyes or our visual skills. We are visual learners. We like to see things in front of us and then they make sense. So I'm going to ask you to take a look at these pictures, showing you just how much we use fractions in real life every single day. Let's start with food. We are always eating, aren't we? Or drinking some kind of refreshment. Take a look at these apples. Right, Mom's been making a fruit salad, so she cuts them. Some moms will cut them only in half, and then she'll make a pie out of those apples. Some mums will cut them into quarters or into thirds, into 3 equal parts, and then she will use them in a pie or in a fruit salad. My favorite, watermelon. This watermelon has been cut into 6 equal parts. Each little part is called 1/6. And there we have our strange looking pizza, showing that our half is the same as 3 pieces out of 6, or 1/2, 1 out of 2. When we go shopping, we will often see signs up in the shops, or we might see it even online, showing us that they have a 50% off or half price sale, or half off, and then we rush off to the shops because we can get something like a cell phone for half price, or nice boots for half price. And sometimes there's a third off, which is not as much. Or we just see price cut, which means they're cutting that price and taking some of the money that we have to pay off the price. So there we go. We see fractions in food and when we're cooking, and we see fractions when we're shopping. And when we are measuring things, we measure things all the time. For instance, if I am having to weigh something, or I'm going to be making a lovely chocolate cake, and I'm told I have to have a 1/2 kilogram or 500 grams of butter, there is my fractions coming into play there. We don't use miles in our country. We talk about kilometers when it comes to distance, but there might be a road sign saying there is a 1/2 mile trek up the road to find the next shop, or a 1/2 kilometer walk up the road. There's fractions being used in measurement. And when we're baking, grade 3s, you bake, I'm sure, and moms bake, sometimes dads bake too. And there we have a cup that we might use. It's 1/4 of a cup, so it's not a whole cup, it's 1/4. It means that 4 of these cups will fit into a whole cup. And there is a little set of measuring cups. So your measuring cups are on the right here, and those are your 1/8, 1/4, a third, and a half, and a whole. There's our whole cup, and you notice they get smaller and smaller and smaller. And then here are our measuring spoons, where we have a whole spoon, a 1/2 a spoon, teaspoon that is, and so on. A 1/4 of a spoon and an 1/8 of a spoon. Maybe that's a third, possibly. When we're telling the time, really, fractions when we tell the time? Well, not everybody knows how to tell the time at the moment, but we are getting there and learning. So here we have this watch or clock on the wall, which the time is reflected here as 2:15, which means that the clock has been divided into 4 equal parts, 1, 2, 3, 4 quarters, and the minute hand has gone only through 1/4 of the clock. So the time there is 2:15, which means the 1/4 of the hour has already gone, which means 15 minutes out of 60 minutes. And there's another example where the minute hand, which is the longer hand, has gone from the 12 right the way around to the 6, and it's gone 2:30. In other words, it's gone 30 minutes around the clock out of 60 minutes. So we say it is 2:30. Right, now let's look at some specific fractions in real life, so that you can identify and have pictures copied and pasted into your head when we're looking at our basic fractions, starting with halves in real life. Delicious chocolate there that has been divided equally into 2 parts, and you must understand that when we're dealing with fractions, they always are equal parts. You can't have one part big and one part small, because that's not dividing that item into 2 equal parts. So there we have our 2 halves of our chocolate bar. We have two very excited little kids waiting to share those and each get half. And our little girl gets half and our little guy gets half, so they each get half of that chocolate bar, shared equally and fairly. That's what fractions are all about. Okay, let's look at quarters in real life now. Quarters means dividing something into 4 equal parts. We can also call them fourths, grade 3. That's also fine. And there's a picture of 4 equal pieces of chocolate. Each one is called a quarter or a fourth. And there is a picture of a pizza which has been divided into 4 equal parts, and each part is 1 quarter, or 1 out of 4. That's what 1 quarter means, 1 out of 4. Now we have our happy little guys again, 2 girls and 2 boys, and they are excited because they are going to each get 1 quarter of a pizza. So they're sharing that pizza equally between the 4 of them, and each person gets exactly the same size. Each person gets 1 quarter. Happy guys. Right, now we're going to look at thirds in real life. Thirds means 3. So it means if I have a whole orange, I divide it into 3 equal pieces and I share that with 2 of my friends. So there we have 1/3. There is a pizza divided into 3 equal parts, and there is only 1/3 left because the family has already eaten 2/3 of it. So 1 out of 3 pieces left, 2 out of 3 pieces eaten. There's 2/3 of a pizza there, 1/3 has been eaten, and 2 out of 3 of the pieces have been left still to be eaten. And there is our whole, or 3/3. So nothing has been eaten there, grade 3, as you can see. And of course, here are 3 little guys again, waiting excitedly to share 1 whole pizza which has been divided into 3 equal parts, and they each get 1/3. Now we're looking at fifths in real life. 5 equal pieces. So here we have a circle which has been divided into 5 equal pieces. One of those pieces is shaded blue, which means 1 out of the 5 is shaded blue. 4 out of the 5 are not shaded. So that area there is 1 out of 5, or 1/5. And that area there, the white area, 4 out of 5 pieces are not shaded. So 4/5 is white and not blue. Here's another example. We have a circle which has been divided into 5 equal parts. 2 out of the 5 have been colored in green, which means that is 2 out of 5 pieces, which is 2/5. 3 of the 5 pieces have not been colored in green, so 3 out of the 5 pieces is called 3/5. So it's 2/5 green, 3/5 white. And there is an example of 3/5. And of course, you guessed it, we now have got 5 children who are each going to be given 1/5. Happy checkers. Okay. What fraction can you see of that pizza on that plate, grade 3s? And what fraction of that delicious watermelon is on the plate? Well, half of the pizza has been left on the plate and half of the watermelon has been left on the plate. So the question, what has been eaten? Half of the pizza has been eaten and half of the watermelon. What is left? half is left of both still to be eaten. I wanted now to show you what a fraction bar looks like, just to show you a different way of representing or drawing fractions. So here we have a whole bar divided into two equal parts, and there is half there, and that half is disappeared or gone. So that's just showing halves again. In our next picture, we have a pizza in 4 equal pieces. How many pieces? Yes, they're 4 equal pieces. Each piece is called, each piece, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. So 4 quarters is the same as 1 whole, and 1/4 means 1 out of 4. So here's another picture where you can see some has been eaten and some hasn't. What fraction has been eaten? Well, you can see quite a lot of it. There we go. If there's only 1/4 left, that means that 3 out of the 4 pieces, or 3/4, has been eaten already. And what fraction is left over? Well, there it is, 1 out of 4, or 1/4. And here's how we can illustrate or show quarters in a fraction bar. There we have our whole divided into 4 equal pieces. Each piece is called 1/4. There's 3/4, there are 2/4, and there is 1/4. So you can see all 4 quarters are represented there. 1/4 has been eaten, 2/4 has been eaten, 3/4 has been eaten, and these in blue is what is left over. Thirds. That's quite a nice helping of pizza. I could easily have one of those thirds and be quite full, I think. So how many pieces have we got there? 3 equal pieces. Each piece is called 1/3. There it is, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Actually, come to think of it, having looked at this picture a bit closer, can you notice that whoever cut this pizza hasn't cut it exactly equal? So I would actually probably want to take that one if I had first choice. Okay, so each piece is called 1/3. In our next picture, we're going to ask the question, what fraction has been eaten? Well, there are 2 pieces left over, so only 1 piece has been eaten, 1/3, 1 out of the 3. 1/3 means 1 out of 3. That is what has been eaten. There are 2 out of 3 left over, so 2/3 have not been eaten, can still to be eaten. And here is our fractions bar, where we show 1 whole, which is the same as 3/3. We take 1/3 away, and we've got 2/3 left. We take 2/3 away, and we have 1/3 left over. Now we're going to look at fifths. How many pieces, guys? Well, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 equal pieces. 1 piece is the same as 1/5, or is called 1/5. There we go. 5 pieces. Each piece is called 1/5. Here's another example where we have a circle or a pizza being divided up into 5 equal pieces. What fraction has been eaten? Well, it's this part here that has been eaten. 2 out of the 5 pieces has been eaten, so that's 2/5. What fraction is left over? Well, the larger part of the pizza has been left over. It's 3 out of the 5, so that is 3/5. Well done. I think you guys are starting to get it now. And here's our fraction bar showing fifths. There's our whole divided into 5. If we give 1/5 away, there are 4/5 left. If we give 2/5 away, there are 3/5 left. If we give 3/5 away, there are 2/5 left. And if we give 4/5 away, there's 1/5 left. And that is our fractions lesson for the day, grade 3. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and remember to go and download and print out the worksheets so that you can complete them and then mark them with a memo page that is provided as well. And so all that is left for me to say is goodbye until our next lesson. Have a lovely day and be safe and healthy.